I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning. Carol is fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Well, hello, and welcome to Riffs on Riffs, where, Toby, you sent me a polo, I think it was yesterday. You were wandering around a parking lot, and you were like, hey, look at this beautiful snow. And you neglected to tell me that up in your state in Michigan, that said snow was coming down here to my state of Ohio. And so 2 days ago, it was 60 degrees outside. It was beautiful. Yesterday was solid 45. So you can imagine my surprise when I woke up this morning to about 4 inches of snow. And I said, where did this come from? And it made me think of one thing, Toby.
What's that?
I need to move. And probably somewhere south and somewhere warm. So I think I'm choosing Texas.
Man, it is so good of you to say that. Riff Nation, today the song that we are reviewing is a song by Miss Ella Langley, and the song is called Choosin Texas. It is
seems like she's making good choices.
I think she is, man. I want to.
Actually, the song would indicate otherwise. But
the song would indicate otherwise. You know what though? It's not about her busting out the windows of some dude's car.
It's true.
It's not about tearing out the seats.
She's just watching it all happen.
She's watching
it
happen.
So.
She's sipping on some Jack, and she's like, you know what? I should have known. She's actually put. You know what? She's actually it's a mature take. Or you know what? Though, let's back up. Back up.
Sure.
Riff Nation, this is something that we don't normally do, but it's a country song, and we don't review a lot of country songs. We have done a couple in the past.
I feel like we sprinkle them in. We are equal opportunity reviewers.
I think so. I think that's a good take. But we were looking for something that was hot on the Billboard charts, and also. Say it again. This is hot.
It's hot.
Yeah, this is doing it. And when you listen to it, you understand why. We had our choice of listening to songs, and we're like, okay, which song are we going to do? Which song are we going to do? And I'm just looking through the charts, and I'm like, I know we just did the video or the episode with Big X the Plug, and Ella is actually singing on one of his tracks, and I really like that track. And and to be fair, we didn't really like the album by Big X the Plug. We really didn't care for the album. But we said the country artists that he featured in his songs, they did their thing. Ella is no exception. I think her part in that song is great. Now, so it made me want to go and check out, her actual solo work. And this song came up, and I was like, okay, man, let's check it out. And what caught me right off the bat is her voice. I think it's not, she's not diva level. I want to be clear, she's not diva level, but her voice partnered with the writing, and I think the writing really got my attention. I thought it was just a perfect combination. But I'm interested to hear what you thought about it.
Love the song. To your point, the writing's good. And she co-wrote all the songs on her 2024 album, Hungover. Mm-hmm. So not a surprise that I'm assuming I didn't actually check, but I'm assuming she at least co-wrote this one. In fact, actually, I know she did because she was in a writing session with Miranda Lambert and a couple other cats. And I just love this story. So I think we can all picture Miranda Lambert sitting around spinning a yarn about some crazy adventure, right?
Right,
because she's had a couple,
you
and
think?
So she apparently was just telling some story, and Ella just made the comment, well, she's from Texas, I can tell, and everybody just kind of stopped and went, okay, I love when a phrase leads into a story, into a song, into what do we do with this, and they took it, they ran with it, and it's a great song, and I think what I enjoy about her, and we'll continue to break down over this episode, is this is not where pop country has moved to. This is more of a pullback into kind of traditional country.
Agreed.
And that's why I like it, because it's not formulaic. Let me say this.
Please?
Country music is formulaic in the same way that the blues are formulaic. The song structure, like, you're not going to get crazy, you know, it's a known quantity from the chord progressions to the vocal stylings to whatever. And so what makes those genres specifically hit you is the lyrics and the performance. And the lyrics are great, and if you can relate to the authenticity of the singer and just feel it in your bones, then it's like, oh, I'm not only listening to this story, I'm in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what she does with this song. I think in general, that's what she does with her music. And that's why I'm like, are we going to finally get back to this form of country? Because I think it's part of the reason why I stepped away from listening to country at all, because I just kind of got tired of the formulas. And so I'm hoping that this is a return back to some grit and some like intensity and some authenticity.
Unapologetically country is the way I look at it, and even down to the callbacks in this song. So there's a podcast called Cocaine and Rhinestones.
Boy, that's going back.
It is going back. It is going back. I mean, that dude is still.
Is he still doing it?
He's still doing it. And anyway, so Riff Nation, if you have any interest in country music at all, and if you
have 40 hours of time to do deep dives.
literally some time on your hands, if you've got some windshield time, this is a great listen. The history of country music, and that's what kind of like it connected things for me. And you start learning about other country artists and just the history of it. Man, listen. One thing I'll say is that country artists are just artists, and all of these artists, a lot of these artists back in the day, were straight gangster. And I mean that with every little bit of sincerity in my mind. I'm talking about pulling guns out of boots. And dude, they would do whatever. The stories are amazing. So like when you talked about Miranda, just spinning a yarn or whatever, I'm like, yeah, the stories are amazing because these are just people. These are just people. Now, when in her song, in Ella's song, and she mentions listening to Hank tunes, I'm like, you did not do that. Like that callback is that's fantastic. You know, and then she says something else about, there's another track called, by George Strait, I think that she mentions as well. I think it's like the Amarillo or what have you. So she's doing something. She's part of this movement. I mean, I've seen this happen in hip hop it to a certain extent. You know, we do have some acts from yesteryear that are now releasing new music. So we have Exhibit, Be Real from Cypress Hill. They have a new song out right now called Call the Cops, right? Really good
Cypress
track.
Hill? Really?
Yeah, dude. It's a good track.
Really?
The name of the group is Serial Killers, or SK. But anyway, so they have a single out, which I really, really enjoy, but they're not trying to, you know, quote unquote, keep up with these new kids. It's like, no, we know how we used to do it and we're still doing it that way. And some of these new kids are like, look, I'm not with all this stuff that's popular right now. I'm doing, you know, I'm one of those throwback artists, and she's most definitely a throwback artist all the way up to and including the way that she performs. You know, she mentioned in an interview that somebody was talking to her about like, hey, man, good performance. You know, in the future, you're probably going to want to like add some autotune on your voice. You know, blah, blah. She's like, I'll never do that. I'll never. That's not.
How refreshing is that?
Yeah, that's what I was like. She's like, yes, you might hear me winded. You know, if I've been jumping around, you might hear me a little bit flat, a little bit sharp here or there, but it's real music. And I think that people have gotten out of the practice of hearing real voices. And I was like, man, it sounds like this is, So the question I have for you today, Joe, is like, are you her uncle? Because sounds like something that you would say. Look here, niece. Look here. That's not real music. Again, one more time. We're not doing that. Say it with me. No more autotune. That's right. Let's go. Continue. But it's very refreshing.
Well, I always think of, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And if you isolate the two vocal tracks on that, and I mean, two legendary talents, right? So they're hitting it. But part of the beauty is it's not perfectly on pitch. And the grit and the intensity and all of that that's what makes you feel the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you get away from the humanness of a performance, whether it's through autotune or whatever, it just removes the ability to connect to it as a human, to feel it in your bones.
Yeah.
And so I love that she's like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm sure that that's going to open her up to all sorts of, because I can already hear the internet. Oh, she can't sing. Look, you're going to clip like 5 seconds of performance, be like, look at how out of tune she is and whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay. But look at the body of work and look at the sheer ability to pull this stuff off. Like, I'm not buying it. So,
but I think when you don't succumb or subscribe to the new wave, you have the ability, right, to actually pull in some of the old heads, right? And I think that that's what she's doing. I mean, we're men of a certain age, not necessarily country music enthusiasts, but we're liking it. And we're like, no, I think I can listen to that. In fact, I went back and listened to her 2024 album, not the whole thing, but I listened to a couple of tracks on there, and I'm like, there's one song, Wasn't for the Wind, Weren't for the Wind, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful track. There are several songs that really can pull you in. She's a great writer. So if you're into country music because of you like good writing, good quality writing, and that put to country music, she's the one. And she's the real deal. You know that this is the only job she's ever had. I think she's only had one other job, and that was working at a trampoline park. She did that for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, outside of that, this is the only job she had. This is you're talking about a very focused woman here. She majored in forestry.
Right. So what's that tell you? Right? She's not part of the machine. She didn't say, I'm going to be a pop star, so I'm going to do all of the things and the social medias and whatever. And yeah, she went to Troy University and then transferred to Auburn and was like, I love forestry. Hell yes. Right? And then, picking up gigs on the side and playing out and basically living that student life and living that performance life until at some point, I think she was 20 and she's like, all right, I'm going to Nashville. And, what do they say? It takes 10 years to make it in Nashville. And I think she did it in 3. So,
right.
Not an overnight success because that almost never happens. But,
right.
Put in the work. And to your point, was uber focused. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I have the passion for, and made it happen. So,
yeah, I think, you can definitely, there's some artists that get there, some artists that get discovered or they get deals and you're like, man, they had to know somebody. They did this, they did that. And, whatever, nepotism or, this one, well, she deserved that. Whatever she gets, she deserved. Anyone that leaves college after 2 years and is just nope, I'm going to move in was, she makes a joke. She's like, yeah, I was living with 3 guys. My dad really loved that. When I moved to Nashville, my dad loved it. But she's living with 2 other artists and the manager of one of those artists. And they just, hey, gig after gig. She said, I wake up every Monday, start email tons of clubs, trying to get more gigs.
Yeah.
And she said, I really wanted to learn how to write songs. So I went to Nashville so I could, I'm like, makes sense to me. And it's paying off. So, yeah, good on her.
Well,
love that
it's
kind
interesting
of story.
that you mentioned men of a certain age, right? So she's going to go on tour this summer, I think, with Eric Church. And that is a man of a certain age and certainly a legend in the industry. And I think that what she's doing now, to me, harkens back to, you know, and again, similar to the blues, right? If you can play an instrument, you know, there's tons of amazing blues guitar players and, you know, people like, you know, take a legend like B.B. King, whose voice to me is as skilled in whatever as he was on the instrument. His voice is just crazy good. And I think that there was a period in time in country where that was also true. You know, you had Keith Urban and Brad Paisley and even Eric Church, like monsters on their instrument who with amazing voices and songwriting chops. And I think, you know, when I hear a guy like Eric Church saying, "Come open for me," because he's pretty locked down on who's he's gonna put on the bill, that to me is an indication of talent, recognizing talent and saying, I want to support somebody who's really authentically writing, honing their craft, performing in a way that is, you know, seeps under people's skin. And so I think that this is a bridge, hopefully, from, you know, a generation ago to kind of a new generation. And I do think that this, what is she, 26?
Yeah. Born in 99, 26 years old.
Yeah. I think that generation is kind of looking for, you know, we've been in this sort of social media world and TikTok world and viral and being an influencer and all of that. And so I think that there might be a shift back to how do we lean more into just being our authentic selves, not about like, how do I get likes and streams and whatever, but like, how do I connect with people? And I think that's what she's doing with her music. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And now let's switch back to the song here, because I think we can kind of tie this in together, because this song isn't necessarily original in its premise, right? This is a song in general. It's about, hey, I had a man and this other woman came in and swooped my dude, essentially. She got him. And I feel dumb now because I should have been able to tell. And now she makes it, but she does it from a little bit, to me, it's a little bit of a fresh perspective, because she's like, I should have known just by the way this dude was dancing, you know, like he's Choosin Texas. He's not choosing the place I'm from. So I thought that was, I just thought it was really, really smart. But what I do like is the maturity. You know, the video is not her, you know, arguing with this man. I didn't
see a video. I just saw a lyric video, but I didn't see an official video for this anywhere.
Yeah, well, I think the video that I saw, it's literally just her sitting at a bar, and there's a couple dancing behind her, and it did have the lyrics on it as well. So, you know, I'm assuming that this is the video, because I'm like, why would Ella literally sit down and mouth the words to anything else? This has got to be the video, right? And I like the maturity of that, of her not, you know, just getting all like breaking glassware, throwing dishes and things like that. Like, we don't need to see all of that. It's like, look, this happened. I mean, she's looking at the camera like, can you believe this? Like, can you believe this? This is ridiculous, right? Sipping Jack by myself, blah, 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 blah. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
So I'm curious what you think the scene is here, Toby, because here's what I'm envisioning.
Oh, go ahead.
That, you know, she's from Tennessee in the song, and they end up somewhere. I don't know. Like in my head, this is the story I made up. They end up going back to his hometown somewhere. There's an old flame that shows up, and they're starting to, you know, everybody's just hanging out, having drinks. Song comes on. He goes and starts dancing, and then he gets in his feels with this old flame, and she's sitting there watching this whole thing going, uh-oh, he's Choosin Texas, right? Would you let that happen?
Yes. Yeah. Because life's all about choices.
Exactly.
You're making
now you
one.
know.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know. Because you know, if you're doing that while I'm there, what will you do when I'm not there? Because I can't be with you all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're choosing Texas, fine. You know,
best to know it now.
Yeah, best to know it now. You know, separate tabs on the bar bill. You know, that's one thing I know right now. I'm pulling my card back immediately. Like, listen. You
Good
got
luck
somebody
with
else to take
Texas.
care of that. Yeah. Choosing Texas, choosing Amex, over my PNC card. I can tell you that right now. Right now, listen, my Discover is closed. That's it.
That's right.
It's a wrap. Yeah, in a way, I mean, there are times, man, like I've been in we've all been in some bad dating situations. You all have been in some bad situations. Like, man, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Stuff that you talk to your kids about. Like, you know what? If this ever happens, you don't blah, blah, blah. And your kids are looking at you like, Dad, that's oddly specific. That's so oddly specific, but, you learn. And this is one way. It's all part of life. You win or you learn. And ultimately in situations like that, and like I said, this is why I really appreciate it. Maybe this, again, this is me from a man of a certain age talking blah, blah, blah. I really do appreciate the fact that, just maturity, just like, okay, this sucks. And I'm going to express how I feel about this. He made a choice and that's that. This is how I feel in this moment. I'm not going to, slash his tires, not breaking windows, throwing dishes. I'm not going to fight the girl, but
right.
She's not blaming any of this on the girl, which
She's
again,
recognizing that a choice is being made. You are choosing Texas.
And then tonight, that would be the name of the follow-up song that the dude makes. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Choices were made.
Yeah, because there's a reason you're not with Texas.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
You're going to realize that. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, now I remember. And it's too late. It is interesting that you say she's not slashing tires and all that, because I had that Hungover album just running through yesterday. So I don't remember the name of the song, but there is one specifically about how, if you're going to make these choices, you better be strong, because, there may be some tire slashing and some other things going on. So maybe that's a couple days from now.
That was the last album, to be fair. So
that's true. It's true. Maybe
we're assuming there's growth in between. I did listen to, there's a couple tracks on there. I Blame the Bar.
Yes.
I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Hungover was fun too. I like that one. You Look Like You Love Me with Riley Green. I don't know if you heard that, man.
And that video, and yeah,
dude, that is, I enjoyed the throwback on that. Just talking through it, just like, it's like, huh.
Starting with just some,
yeah,
not singing, just some spoken word to kick off the song,
and a woman who knows what she wants and not afraid of being forward. I mean, like, you know what? I've been drinking. You know what you look like to me. What is that sweet thing? You look like you love me. What? I was like, I appreciated it. I appreciated it. There was a time where that line would have absolutely worked on me. There is.
We're like, well, I wasn't. You know what? I think you're right.
I think you're right.
I think you're right. Thanks for that.
I do.
Thanks for that prompt.
I don't even know your name, but yes, I do.
So, Toby, I don't know. I think you probably know this about me, that I have a deep love for frogs for no apparent reason.
Yeah. We discussed this.
And I just was happy that, because when she was growing up, I mean, part of it is her love for music came from her grandfather, and sitting around the piano, and he would play this song, Frog Went a Courtin'. And I looked up this song, Toby. I listened to this song today, and I have so many questions.
Oh my God.
Because the frog, he's first of all, I want to know what the day is, post tadpole, when a frog wakes up and says, all right, I got to go find me a woman. And decides to go a courting, and then decides that he wants to find a mouse, and like everything. And then he's got to get permission from the rat dad, and depending on the version, there's people that meet their demise along the way. Like, this is an epic tale, and so I think it, at an early age, she must have really got a love for storytelling just from the Frog Went a Courtin'.
Well, imagine, Joe, that she did, because I'm looking at the lyrics right now. It's the first time I've ever looked at them. And
what? You've never done a deep dive into this old Scottish song in the round?
So Froggy went a chord. Is this is a song by Bob Dylan?
No, it's literally a song from, I think, 1700, 1600
Oh,
in
okay.
Scotland.
Well, maybe
It
Bob
just
Dylan
became
did it.
like a pop. Yeah, it's been covered
Okay.
by
All right.
tons
All
of
right.
people.
Well, regardless, it screams to me. It definitely screams Bob Dylan to me, but it also screams, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Eliza.
Yeah. Oh,
It screams that, which shout out to our friends of the pod, Jerry and family for those memories.
Thanks, Don, for
Don
making us listen to, oh my God, why can't I think of his name? Who's the singer? Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
What, I forget her name too, but yes. Go look that one up, dear listeners. There's
Please.
a hole in the bucket.
There's a hole in the bucket by Harry Belafonte. All right, so yeah, that's what it kind of screams that to me. But the one thing about this song and songs of its ilk, even if we're talking about hole in the bucket and whatnot, the melody is rather simple, man. The melody is simple, and you don't need to be a fantastic vocalist to be able to sing these parts. Bringing up the Harry Belafonte song, I remember when Dawn had mentioned that, hey, Harry Belafonte sang "There's a Hole in the Bucket," everybody in the room was like, there's no way that he sang that song. There's absolutely no way. I'm ready to put money on it, but Don's a better. So I'm like, no. I'm not.
Right.
He's done this before.
Yeah.
This dude's a shark. I'm not doing that. And we looked it up, and yes, he has an amazing voice, but he kept it in the pocket because the song and the lyrics are it. That's the highlight of it. And I feel like that's the same lane that Ella is trying to run in. I don't think that the songs really show like complete range of her voice. I think she's just sitting in the pocket because she wants these lyrics to sing. She wants these lyrics to really, really connect. So I appreciate it. However she gets the message across. It's interesting.
Well, I'm going to make a weird connection here. So back in the 80s, there was the pyrotechnics of guitar players who were just trying to one up each other with like flashier solos and whatever. And so every song had, verse, chorus, break for a solo, whatever. And then I think that's part of the backlash that came when grunge emerged. It was like, enough with that. Like, we don't need to show off. We just want to convey emotion with these songs. And so for a while there was none of that. There was no flashy guitar solos. I think there was a lot of great cats who could play, but they were in service to the song. And I think that is the difference between, and this is absolutely no shade, but like a Christina Aguilera who's like, I'm literally diva voice. I'm going to show it off all the time. And that's what exists in, kind of that version of pop music versus what Ella's doing right now is carving out this lane of, could I do some of that stuff? Sure, but it doesn't serve the song. It's not the point. And so what you were just saying about Harry, it's like he held back because he knew the story is the story. Like, that's what you need to convey. You're almost acting out the song. And it doesn't need all of the, the runs and the chops and everything that go with it. And I think that's what she's doing. And I think that artistic choice goes such a long way. And I hope that more artists kind of lean into that.
I do too. And I think she's got an old soul because to me, it's like the way that she sounds right now, I can see someone going through like the whole, doing everything, starting off one way and then going into, subscribing to some of the current day trends and then eventually like landing on like, what, we need to go back to that. I mean, if you look at hip hop, like particularly like Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z started off with Reasonable Doubt. He rhymed a certain way. Later on, he was doing a lot of fast rapping on albums and on record, the Big Pimpin' song and this, that, and the third. And then, you listen to his last couple of projects, like, 444, and it's just different. Every word is just like he means every word. It's just like, it's slower. It's not, there's no verbal tricks. It's not nothing. It's like, it's more content over anything. You even notice some MCs now, they've turned, like, there is no drum track. There is no
Right.
drum track. They've like cut that off. It's like, no, let's get back into this, the actual, the voice being considered an instrument,
Mm-hmm.
So no soloing. So that's really interesting. You mentioned that about grunge. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. That angle makes sense because it really is a lot more lyrical. I feel grunge, like they really wanted to connect with the teens and the young people of that age. Man, this is how I'm feeling right now. Jeremy spoke in class today.
Oof.
And,
Even Rooster or, Alice in
all of that.
Chains, It Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Not that you can understand the lyrics, but you feel the emotion.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel it. There's something to that.
I think there's an evolution from, like, with art in general as you progress in age and maturity. I remember when I was in college, I took 7 million years of figure drawing. And eventually it was like, yeah, I can draw a human body, right? Like I can do that in my sleep and whatever. I remember when I was a kid and everybody was like, oh, Picasso's amazing. And I would look at his cubism stuff and I was like, this looks like a 5-year-old, like, took out a crayon and started whatever. And I didn't get it.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got older and I did some research on Picasso and I was like, oh man, that dude he's legit. Like he could have done anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just decided, he kind of discovered his own style and kind of embraced that. And it wasn't that he couldn't do realism. He could actually do it tremendously well.
Right.
And just kind of moved. And it wasn't until I went through that experience myself where I'm like, I'm bored. And so, my last year of figure drawing, I would just sit around and like, what else could I do that is not making this form look like it's supposed to look, but like is interesting to me or is playing with lines and shapes and whatever. And I think that's what happens in all the art forms is you learn the instrument or you learn how to sing or whatever. And then there's this period of like, I've got to develop some facility on whatever that instrument is or whatever this is. Like, I've got to get good at this. And then once you develop some sort of baseline of skill, you're like, okay, now what? And that's when I think you start to figure out, like, who am I and how do I want to convey that? And I think Ella, for being 26, she's put in the time already where I think that she's kind of sped up that process. And she's already gotten to the point where she's like, well, this is who I am. And this is how it's going to be. And I'm going to hold true to that. And I'm amazed that somebody so young has been able to figure that out already.
She has an old soul, but I kind of harken back to that, Malcolm Gladwell and the 10,000 hours. I guarantee you this young lady she's been on stage like a lot, and she knows what she wants to do. I think that there are just certain people that this is all that they've wanted to do. This is it. They haven't done anything else. She's just got, she's got a warrior spirit. She's an artist, just through and through, even with, it's interesting. So during that interview, I was listening to her, obviously right now, I think it'd be understandable to have a certain amount of pressure right now. Like you've been on tour, we got this one coming up, you got a hit single, Billboard, this song went platinum on the country Billboard charts. I mean, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're in a very enviable position, especially at your age.
Sure.
And there's this pressure because these are songs, you're actually making it for songs that you wrote or co-wrote. So there'd be a pressure to write more. She's actually, slowing down. She's like, yeah, I write a lot, or I can write, but I want to make sure that when I'm writing still reflects me. And, so I really respect that. She's just not coming out. She's not trying to mail it in. And I think that she's at that point where she could almost mail it in. People are going to be at least curious to hear what she's got,
Yeah, she's got a couple of hits already. So it's people are going to, yeah. This episode of Riffs on Riffs is brought to you by DistroKid, your ultimate partner for taking your music to the next level.
With DistroKid, uploading your songs or albums to online stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music is easier than ever. Plus, you can easily pay your collaborators with splits and send large files securely to anyone with Instant Share.
And guess what else? You can get a YouTube official artist channel for free via DistroKid. You can send credits to stores, and you can use Hyperfollow to promote your release.
DistroKid has everything you need to succeed in the digital music landscape.
But that's not all. DistroKid now offers a convenient mobile experience with the DistroKid app, available on iOS and Android.
With the app, you can manage your releases, track your streaming stats, and even withdraw your earnings, all from the palm of your hand. And for the artists looking to perfect their sound, there's Mixia. With Mixia, you can put the finishing touches on your tracks in minutes, ensuring they sound polished and professional every time.
And if you need to share large files securely with collaborators, producers, or playlist curators, look no further than Instant Share. It's free to send up to 1 gigabyte of files, and your music will stream at the highest quality, making the best impression possible.
So why wait? Elevate your music career today with DistroKid and unlock a world of possibilities.
Riffs on Riffs listeners get 30% off their first year at DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/riffsonriffs. I want to circle back to the old artist coming out with new material, but not attempting to sound current.
Mm-hmm.
And
you want to talk about Nas, don't you? You want to talk about Nas right now?
We're going to save that for a different episode. Because I know you have thoughts. But I'm fascinated by this because we were talking in the last episode or a couple episodes, whatever it was, about how AI is generating new stuff. And it's pleasing to certain people because it's generating new content that sounds like old content from back in the day. I think you said, if Tupac was still alive, was making music, we can just have new Tupac songs ad infinitum through AI.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be an appetite for that. And I'm curious if we're going to see more and more artists that have not really been relevant for the last decade or two or even longer say, hey, you know what? I have the opportunity. I still have that drive inside of me and that desire to create art. And maybe there's still an audience for it because the people who used to listen to it back in the day are still listening to that stuff. Because, I don't think tons of people kind of evolve. So I'm just curious if we're going to see a surge in that.
I do think there will be a surge in that for all those that are actually able. So here's what I'll say, amusement parks are different for us at this age.
You mean painful? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, all of that is painful. Now you're paying a whole bunch of money to go with your family, and you might go on one ride, okay? And you're looking at the little ride with the saucers, the little moving saucers, and you're like, that might be my limit. Like that might be it, and on these events, but the reason why you win is because it's the time with the family. The reason why you win is because there's certain things that you can get only at fairs and carnivals, like funnel cakes, right? This is the only time you're going to be able to get cotton candy. So going there is going to feel similar, but it's different. And I feel that with hip hop, like hip hop music, specifically speaking about hip hop artists, like your traditional artists, whether it's Slick Rick, your Nas, your Jay-Z, artists like, and maybe those are bad examples because those are like really, really big time artists, but if it's, artists that are like, a little bit under that, like, your Cameron, those type, not trying to think of, just artists that did have some hits, but they weren't like mega stars. They haven't done anything super recently. I think it's great that they come out with stuff. I think there's, De La Soul just did an album. Fantastic, and they should absolutely do a tour, but it is going to be different. And we have to temper our expectations. You can go to the amusement park, but brother, you are not getting on the Mean Streak and the Iron Dragon and all.
Do not get on the corkscrew, because I can tell you firsthand.
You're not doing all of that, but you can still have a funnel cake, and that little saucer thing that you thought was too childish before, you could get on that. It's going to be different. So we have to temper our expectations, but this is because I think they're going to want to hear something different, something that is, gives you the yesteryear vibe, but still original and not predictable like what AI is going to produce. I mean, the AI thing it's a menace. It's a menace. I'm done. Like I like it. I appreciate it, but not when it comes to music that's out. And, I think there's a whole nother place for it. I think AI music should be elevator music only. Like that is it. Like I get it. Like, oh, it created this little ditty that you like. Awesome. But it cannot be placed in the same room, all right, where authentic music is being played. We have to draw the line. If we're both writing books right now, and now because of AI, there are really tough rules in regards to what percentage was created by AI and what percentage is actually, authentic. If we have those rules in place for writing, we have to have those rules in place for music. I'm not sure what's taking so long. Obviously it's money. And if we're not careful, the powers that be will replace all artists or most artists with AI because they can, and they're cheaper. They can work them for however long they want. You want a K-pop song, you want a song that's like the Jackson 5, you can easily do it, but.
And then we're going to see a new version of Milli Vanilli, because people still want to go to concerts. They still want to have an experience. For an artist, it's the best way. It's really kind of the only way to make money now is to have a successful tour. So are we moving towards that? Record companies are putting out the AI music, and then it's like, okay, you go sing this, and we'll put a band behind you. And I wonder if we're just going to pretend at some point that, oh, it wasn't AI music. AI wrote all the stuff, but now we're performing it, and yikes.
Well, with all the lies that are being told today, in social media, it's only a matter of time. And that's why I know I was having a conversation with my family about this. I'm a big fan of like Kindles and like that kind of thing, just where you can have books, automatically come down, from the cloud right to your device. You can have like, 100,000 different books, on that thing, on that device. I am changing my tune a little bit because I think that people can change those devices or change whatever's published, and now whatever's being downloaded can change. It can be updated. Certain parts could be redacted or taken out. What can't be is the actual book that I have in my hand. So I'm changing, out of that, because I'm trying to think long term. Like, no, if you look at it, like it's almost like a Bible. It's like, no, this is the Bible that I have. It literally said this.
This was the time that it was translated at this period and whatever. Yeah.
Right. And now we're just getting all these future iterations. And, we're talking about music, but which is just a part of culture. And, I really want to make sure that we preserve culture, because it's these singers, these artists, these writers, these actors, actresses, all of that. AI is threatening all of that. It's threatening all of that culture. And these are the modern day griots, in my opinion. Like, these are the story teachers. This is the storytellers. If we don't preserve them, then we're in trouble. I mean, we're already in trouble, but it will get worse. So we gotta, and here's, and I guess making all these statements, I know what some people that are listening to this are probably asking, well, Toby, what do you want? What do you want us to do about it? What do we want? I'm just one person. I'm sitting at home. I have a regular job, a regular 9 to 5.
I like my AI music.
Right.
Leave me alone.
Here's what I'll say. Don't put any money into that.
Mhm.
Don't put any money into that, because the powers that be are going to go where the money goes. Don't put any money into that. Don't listen to that. Just take that off. I know it's hard, but so is going to work, and you do that every day. So let's just separate ourselves from all of that. Don't give that any flame. Don't share that music with any of your friends, that AI stuff. Don't share it with anybody. Let's show and prove to everybody that this is terrible, that it's not a good thing. It's a novel idea, but it's
a
not,
novelty. Exactly.
it's not the real thing. A virtual date is not the same thing
No.
as an organic
Mm-mm.
date.
Mm-mm.
It's not the same thing. If Joe and I lived...
Although you're less likely to have somebody Choosin Texas on a virtual date.
Well, not that you know of. Shoot. You
got two screens open.
Yeah, look, hey, Joe, you could be on a Zoom by yourself. You have no idea,
That's true.
So,
That's also true.
So, if you and I, if we had a choice, our preference would be to record in the same room.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In the same room. We're doing this because this is the best, that we can do. I know. I'm going to get off the pulpit. I've been preaching.
No,
for
I
a
love
while,
it. And now I understand why you are a lover of first edition books.
Yeah.
Because it's like that was the chronicle of that time. It's funny. I love library book sales. And so
Yeah.
I just have way too many books, and I have no apologies for that. I will continue. I can't wait for library book sale season to start again this year. But I was randomly, because this is part of the fun, it's sort of the fun of going to an actual library, is I picked up this book and I found it on my shelf yesterday. I was like, what is this? And I think it was like kirigami is what it's called, but it's like, it's not paper folding, it's like paper cutting and whatever. And I just opened this book, and I think it's from the 80s, because one of the things you could make was a floppy disk holder. And I was like, okay. But I spent, 15 minutes just looking through this, and could I YouTube this and figure out how to do this stuff and whatever?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure that there's amazing videos out there, but there's a mind-brain, there's a connection that happens when you're flipping pages and you're kind of going back and forth, and you're just, I almost feel like you're less distracted too. Anytime you're looking at a screen, there's almost this subconscious realization that you could jump to something else.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? But if you're holding a book and you're immersed in that, then that distraction kind of goes away.
That is why in 26, if people want a change, a lot of people they want change. This is the reason why, resolutions are so popular this time of year. And there's a whole bunch of people. I haven't met one person that's been like, I want to connect with people less. That's not something that people say. But here's one thing that I think that people don't do. And I want to encourage people to do it more, is strive for this organic connection. And doing so by actually picking up the phone and calling someone instead of texting. Because when you're texting, you be in a text conversation with 6 different people, but when you're on the phone talking with someone, it's just them. It's just them, or FaceTime for that matter. Like it's just them. Let me see if I can try to make this point. We need to slow down, because I think we're missing moments. We're missing moments if we're not careful. And that's why one of the reasons why when we do research for these songs or these artists, we try to, in a short period of time, listen to a couple of different tracks from this particular artist so we can talk about it intelligently.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this album by Stevie Wonder. It's called In Square Circle. It was out in 85. That's when it was released. It's 85. It was released. And I didn't pick it up until I'm in college, right? Or high school. Like we're talking 92, 94. And I'm listening. I am out here like with a, I'm out here listening to these tracks like they just came out. Like, have you heard?
We're like,
have you heard the new Stevie? Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not new, Toby. But have you heard? Right? And there are songs on there like Part-Time Lover and Overjoyed. And these are songs that are very, very, very popular, right? And one could easily look at that playlist like, oh, yeah, those are the songs. That's it. That's what makes it. And then there's a song that I love. It's called Never in Your Sun. And another song that's called Whereabouts. Bruh, those are my favorite songs on the album.
Now I know what I'm listening to today.
Man, those are my songs. Those are songs I keep on replay. And what I'm saying is they're not anybody else's favorite songs. They're not these are not songs that are going to be heralded or written, largely about, at least not to my knowledge, but I love them. Now, with that, I'm saying this is that if we don't slow down, it will be those moments that we will try to fast forward through. And if we're not careful, that is what will happen. That is why organic conversations and connections are so important, because it's that part. It's the pictures that we took that you can look through your phone and be like, man, I remember this time, when looking at my son trying to help me brush my teeth when he was like 3 years old, and I'm holding him and he's got toothbrush in my mouth. Like, you gotta get in there, Daddy. You gotta.
Yeah.
It's those moments, and if we just fast forward through it.
I also think that getting back to this idea of legacy artists creating new material, it's an opportunity to tell those stories that are relevant to that age. So I think where it fails sometimes is artists will, attempt to make new music that is current, including the lyrics. And it's like, man, you're 50. Like, why are you writing a song like you're 20? Because that's not, hopefully you're not still living like you're 20. Hopefully you've got some interesting life experiences. So if you're gonna create new stuff, then make it relevant to what's actually relevant to you, as opposed to trying to grab onto something from 30 years ago. And I'm hoping that as more of this starts to come into play, because if you're thinking about who your audience is, like if you're old, 20-year-olds on TikTok going to find you and listen to your stuff anyway. It's going to be the people who know who you are, and have a connection to you from long ago and want to hear what you're thinking about now, not you trying to be something you're not. And so I think that's, hopefully we get, in the same way that Ella is very authentic in how she kind of creates music and moves through the world, I'm hoping that these legacy artists, if they come back, start to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing like seeing like these, my goodness, we see it. We see it all the time where like these legacy acts are going through hell to try to get their bodies where they were when they were 20 something. And they're wearing these ridiculous outfits that are not becoming, when you could have just stayed in the lane of you being 40 plus or 50 plus or 60 plus. And it's like, well, this is what 60 plus year old people wear. And that is totally appropriate, because you know what? Your audience is filled with a bunch of 60 plus year old people that are wearing similar stuff, and that's okay. That's all right. And we need hip hop shows for legacy acts with actual seats that you can actually sit down and not standing room only. Yeah. Now, of course, I'm only talking about like from an underground hip hop perspective, but it was only standing room only. We didn't have places to sit. We were sitting down. We're not old. Now we are. Okay, now we are. We need places that you can sit down. We need table service. Okay, I'm not getting up and going to the bar because I'll miss out. I'm only going to be here for sure. And when these shows are going to start on time and earlier.
Yes.
I'm working tomorrow. I don't know about anybody else.
I want my dinner at 5, my show at 7.
Yes, my show at 7 on time. Get in.
I want the encore at 8:30. Okay,
yeah, and we're done. And I don't need 30 songs. I don't need it. I want you to pick like a good 8. I want you to leave me wanting more, and then get out and be like, you know what? And look at my wife and be like, hey, babe, great show. We have just enough time to go get some dessert at another spot, and then go home. Perfect night. Perfect night.
I think you're onto something here, Toby. I think you're onto something.
Grown folk stuff.
Grown folk stuff. All right. Well, with that, I think we're done. So I do want to, it's interesting because we're going to plug our own song that is, Choosin Texas kind of feels like the one who got away, and the guy, right or wrong, the guy is hearkening back and doing the 2-step with Texas. Toby and I, the Silver Foxes, have a song out there in the world right now, called Phoenix, which is about the one who got away.
Yeah.
Some features on that. Actually also starts with some spoken word from your brother, to kind of get into the vibe of the tune. So listeners, go check that out. And
Where can they check it out at?
You can find it on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music. Go find it. Toby and I will continue to be making music here. We really appreciate the positive response to the cover of the Christmas song during the holiday season. So, and I thought that was interesting too with Choosin Texas, how as soon as the holiday music went off the charts, I think this song went from like number 48 to like number 5 and then to number 1. And so it was like, all right, let's clear out of the holidays and like, we're going to get back to just,
Let's take the
regular
lights
music.
down. Let's put the tree away. Yeah.
That's right.
Take the lights down, put the tree away. Boom. Yeah. You run into that, that situation, but I'm happy for her. And, it definitely made me think about Phoenix. And for listeners, if you haven't heard it yet, check it out when you get a chance. Other than that, Joe, I really don't have anything else to add outside of where you can find our show. This is Riffs on Riffs, obviously all streaming platforms. You want to holler at us, find us on Facebook under the same name, Riffs on Riffs. And we'll be back. We'll be back with another episode. Appreciate everyone being here with us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess with that, huzzah. Keep listening.